Hey besties and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about K-pop groups that could have been big or more successful. It'll make more sense later, but not all of these groups disbanded yet. They're more of less popular groups. Now, let's get started with the video. It's so crazy to me that even though they're one of the most recognized second-gen K-pop groups with hit songs, JYP still managed to not think right and fumbled. Of course, I think there's other things that might have came into play with their success, such as have a few member lineup changes, especially in 2010 when Sunmi was on hiatus. I honestly feel like in that era when the lineup changed is when their potential to be insanely successful failed. Like, they had Tell Me, So Hot, and Nobody that was going viral, especially in America with Nobody, but instead of making higher quality songs and promoting more, they did a tour with the Jonas Brothers that didn't do as great. Also, it's just so crazy to me how they had a movie centered around them on Nickelodeon, but JYP's funky ass just had to steal the spotlight and gave them like no lines. Luckily, they had one of the best real comebacks ever with Reboot, and even though Why Soul Only wasn't as successful, it still did pretty good. They had so much going on for them that could have made them as big as Girls' Generation, and even though I wasn't a K-pop stan when second gen was in its prime, I noticed that Wonder Girls isn't talked about much unless it's mentioning Tell Me. I feel like they were just unfortunately pushed to the back when Missy was around, and with Twice being their new group at the time, we should have known their fate. Now I know I'm not the first or the last person to talk about how Kep1er is basically flopping, but I had to include them. They're still active and haven't disbanded yet, but I really thought that when they debuted, they would have gotten more hype, but even their debut song didn't make as much noise compared to other produced group debuts. For example, I1's Lavi and Rose did great, and so did 101's Energetic, but Kep1er's trended for a bit then was forgotten about. Up did pretty well, but so far, that's the only comeback of theirs that got some attention. Although I don't think they're necessarily the most talented produced group, they're still talented and have members with great stage presence. I feel like their songs are very lackluster and just don't have the ability to capture the public's attention enough. But I think their company thought that them being on Girls' Planet would be enough. I also think that them not having a set sound or any type of identity is what's preventing them from truly growing. Like, I get that rookie groups should experiment, but they're kind of all over the place. Even though I think they still have some time to make a name for themselves, their disbandment is coming up, and unless they extend it, then I doubt it. I truly think that they have a lot of potential to be really successful, but their company is just wasting it. They're also not disbanded yet, but I truly feel like they're in a similar situation that the Wonder Girls were in. To my knowledge, I know that they were huge in Japan, especially when Step and Mr. came out, but I feel like besides those songs, they aren't really paid attention to. It's just so crazy to realize that they're actually underrated and not super popular when they've had hit after hit. For them to be the same group that has Mr., Step, Damaged Lady, Lupin, Mamma Mia, Pandora, and more as a part of their discography and still not be one of the most successful groups ever is insane to me. I think them being from a very small company at the time is what was holding them back from becoming really big, because they have amazing music, kept in with the trends while having their own unique style, and amazing vocals. I honestly feel like they could have been much bigger if they were just in a different company that promoted them better. I'm aware that they're also active, but I feel like especially when this unit debuted, that they could have been so successful. I know that usually units are as popular as the group itself, and LOONA as a whole definitely could have been bigger, but I want to focus on Odd Eye Circle. I feel like they had the perfect sound at the time that wasn't the same thing every other girl group was doing, but they weren't doing anything outdated either. For them to be from a super small company as well, their music videos and musical production was really impressive, and they have a great concept and lore. Even when they recently had their big comeback after leaving the company with Air Force One, which was amazing comeback, I was surprised that people weren't making as much noise. Of course Orbits and some girl group stans were excited, but I feel like the general public still isn't over their Girl Frontera, which I can't really blame them since that's one of, if not their best song ever besides Sweet Crazy Love. This comeback was amazing too, but I feel like for them to be back after 6 years, Their company definitely could have pumped up the public more and made more noise by hyping everyone up or making bigger promotions. Similar with Kara, they got everything to be successful besides good promotions. I actually hate that they disbanded because honestly, they could have been up to G-Friends or stayc's level of success or popularity. Although I think the company messed up by being silent for so long and waiting forever to properly announce that they disbanded. I feel like another big part was not giving them enough albums. Even though they're not popular or well known, there are a good amount of K-pop stans that know their song Night Aviation, which is known to be one of their best songs. But instead of just sitting there and doing nothing, they could have profited off of the success from that song by either performing it, making the title track similar to it, or making a music video for the song. I'm more of a casual fan and never have paid attention to their activities, so I don't know if they were on a lot of variety shows. But they're talented, so they definitely could have had the opportunity to go on shows like Queendom or that one Sketchbook live show. They had a concept that was well liked by the public and not overused either, so they already had qualities about them that stood out. I just don't understand why the company didn't push them further and decided to fail them. I think this just shows how no matter how talented a group is, the way the company handles them could either make or break the group. Every time I think about how CLC were done by their company, my eye starts twitching because the way My Girlies could have been one of the top third-gen girl groups is insane to me. Now I do wanna say that I understand that popularity isn't the only important thing to a group and they're still amazing no matter how many awards or monthly listens, but I truly feel like they deserved for their success to reflect on their amazing discography. I think it was good how Cube actually listened to the members by changing their concept, and even though they ate down with the bright cute concept, it was a smart move to give them a girl crush one because it brought in a lot of fans and attention. They were doing so good until unfortunately some tasteless fans decided that Where Are You was bad. It was beautiful song, but just came out at the wrong time. I also think that not giving them a full album and making Helicopter their last comeback was such a terrible move because little to no noise was made about Helicopter, and I would see a lot of people talk about how they deserved a full album with how good Cry Style and No was. This just proves that not only is Cube a horrible ass company, but they're just like JYP, where once a new group debuts, they slowly stop caring about their older groups that weren't promoted right to begin with. They're another group that I feel like is being dealt with horribly in many ways. I think the beginning of their downfall truly started with first because everyone was obsessed with Lottie and loved this concept for them, but did something that seems to be a habit for them, which is not listening to the fans or the public and released first. It's not the worst song, but it wasn't smart of them to release this at the time where everyone started to hate Girl Crush, specifically this type of girl crush. Even though it kind of flopped, Pirate was better, and I just think it didn't do great since it was released in the last month of the year. Everyone was waiting for their comeback after Yeon was forced to take a hiatus because they don't know how to stand up for their members. But this was their huge opportunity to release an amazing song that got people talking about Everglow again. But no, they decided to release the most bland and basic girl crush song. Like, they could have done a Dun Dun Part 2 or something fresh yet powerful, but they missed the mark heavily. It's like they're failing them and don't even care to listen or help them improve. I truly hope that their next comeback is soon and something different, because people are literally forgetting about them when they could still be at the level they were when they debuted. They're still a very popular group that's not really in danger of flopping or anything, but I just want to discuss how SM is wasting their potential and not utilizing them to become more successful. They're basically the female version of Superm by being the Avengers of K-pop, or at least SM by having some of the best vocalists and dancers. I feel like their first mistake was the debut song. It's not the song itself that's the problem, but the lyrics, and even though I don't have a big problem with it since there's so many songs like that, it's just pretty contradictory since their name literally means girls on top and everyone was expecting this girl power type of song. I personally think another mistake was how they prioritized this group when their respective groups weren't even promoted well or given enough comebacks, and people didn't really want this group as bad as they thought. Like, I know people were talking about wanting one right after Superm debuted, but I'm pretty sure we all want each group to have their own comebacks first. I also think giving them one stage then disappearing for the rest of the year is weird, because then everyone just forgets about them for the rest of the year. I like the members that are in this group and most of the songs, but SM just needs to get their priorities straight first. They're being done so damn dirty by their company. It honestly annoys me so much. A lot of acts have came from Produce 101 such as Sami, Chungha, Preston, Guguden, and of course Weki Meki, but I feel like their company thought that having members from Produce would make them fine on their own when it doesn't work like that. Yeah, there's 2 very popular members, but a group can't always survive off promoting that. They have great music, fun concepts, and were always releasing some new and fresh, so it's not like their music was bad or hated. In fact, Weki Meki and Crush was well liked by a big portion of the public, so I don't know why they didn't recognize that and push them more forward. Although they changed their concept a bit with Cool, it wasn't the stereotypical girl crush, and to my knowledge, it received pretty alright reactions. But then things got worse when they just stopped giving them comebacks after Fiesta. First off, that song should have been released in the summer and not October when people are getting ready for fall and Halloween, and they should know that giving a group that isn't popular only one comeback with small promotions isn't gonna do shit for them. That strategy barely works, and the few times it does is for huge groups like Blackpink. I truly hope they have a comeback soon, because the fact that people are theorizing that they're silently disbanding is bad, and the company needs to start caring about them more, because their talents are being put to waste. And that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you'd want, and have a good day. Bye besties.